Crystal with Crystal Clear College Planning. I recently polled to find out what parents' biggest concerns were, and the number one was how to pay for college. The second was not knowing where to start. And the good news is both of those have the same answer, actually, and a great action steps for you guys to be able to take in order to get more clarity in regards to this process and making sure that you feel like you're in a good spot. So when it comes to paying for college, a lot of people are just obviously concerned about the overall cost and then just being like, how am I supposed to come up with the money in order to pay for this? Which is valid, but at the same time, we want to be thinking about it as how can we bring that cost down? How can we make smart choices in order to choose colleges that are going to want to pay our student in order to go there? So that's where we start looking at, are we building a college list that really is academic, social, and financial fit? And if we're doing that, we're naturally putting ourselves in a solid position in terms of bringing the cost of college down from that $60,000 sticker price to something more manageable. The other piece of this, though, is not knowing where to start, which is often just because this process is very overwhelming. And so I like to look at this more from, based on where you're at, where your kid is at in terms of their headspace, right? Like willingness to kind of get started really just depends on what our goals and intentions are as well, to be able to say like, well, first, we just need to be able to explore like what we're interested in with an open mind, right? So instead of boxing ourselves in and say, hey, I'm going to do nursing, I'm going to do business, I'm going to do this. If we have an idea, that's great, but I want you to be open to how we can explore it. And then teaching kids how they can start to get that exposure and do that work while they're in high school to set themselves up for success when they get on campus for whatever college it is that they choose. But then at the same time, recognizing the more they do that work, the more they're going to get engaged and have more of a connection to schools where they're the ones that are driving this process, and also where those people on those campuses are getting to know that kid to the point where sometimes additional opportunities can arise for the sake of scholarships. That a lot of people just don't think about the colleges and what it is that they have to offer. Parents are just thinking, how am I as a parent going to have to pay for this? So I want to encourage, like, that is a great way to start the process, is bringing your kid into that conversation. And if we're not ready yet or not sure where that's going to take us, like I had a conversation with a mom where she was like, I'm not sure if my kid's even interested in going to college. So that when the next meeting that we had, it was me asking questions around like, well, what does this look like for you? And do you really want to own this? And, tell me what your concerns are. And the kid was like, no, I really do want to do this. I just don't know what the heck to do. Like, how am I supposed to start this? So then we were able to get that clarity, give him a path on what it is he needed to do, and it felt a lot better. And then he had that action step and was very clear. And then when it comes on the parent side, when it, like paying for it and all of that, there's a lot of ways that we can creatively finance college that most of the time people just don't even think about. So that's another fabulous piece of that conversation to say, we don't have to come up with a cash flow to be able to pay everything the second it is that they start school. But I also strongly encourage families to make smart consumer choices. We don't want to go buy a Lamborghini of a college if we really can't afford a Lamborghini of a college, or it's going to saddle our kid with so much debt by the time they're done that they're not going to have the freedom of space to be able to maybe do what they're passionate about in terms of that first job, or they can't have a job that makes $30,000 a year because they have so much debt, right? Like that has to be proportional. It has to make sense. So as a parent, being willing to have those conversations is paramount, and it can be scary. It can be annoying. It can be frustrating, but being able to have a conversation with how you can set yourself up for success there, strongly encouraged. So I hope that helps, and we'll see if we'll do another poll in the future and see what other concerns you guys have, and I'm happy to address those directly. So till next time, Crystal with Crystal Clear College Planning.